Hi, I'm Phyllis Myers, and I just dropped by the Action Boutique here at Francis Street First Methodist Church at 12th and Francis, and it's just great. Bring your kids down here; they'll have a wonderful time, and I just at least come and see it, and they will love it, and so will you.
So what did we just see, Scott Kiddle? We are Coping Live Talk, and we go live every Saturday. I'm Lydia Istomina, and our co-hosts are Scott Kiddle and Candy Sheehan. So we have today a very unusual time when we will introduce you to something that will help you cope with maybe a difficult day. Maybe your children are unruly today. Maybe somebody upset you so bad, and you don't want to call anybody, you don't want to see anybody. And here it is. It is called Action Boutique Discovery Center right here in St. Joseph, Missouri. And what we just saw was the introduction that during our grand opening, we interviewed Phyllis Myers, who is the wife of the founder, and she's actually herself the founder of the New Generation Choir here in St. Joseph, a wonderful choir that will sing in Francis Street First Church on Father's Day. And this is our tradition, and I am the pastor of this church. So, Scott, what is going on today? Do you think that this Discovery Center, Action Boutique, might help people to cope with difficult situations or simply with depression or bad mood?
I was just thinking about that, Lydia. So we've been talking for months and months and months about how to cope with unexpected changes in life, and of course those changes aren't necessarily unexpected. But the point is, life is such that we need to cope with our responsibilities, our burdens, our stresses, etc., etc. And one of the things I think that can help anybody cope with the things that life throws at you is fun. Having a little bit of fun, having a little bit of recreation. So I joined you this afternoon at the Action Boutique Discovery Center to invite or to welcome our first guests, some children that came with their grandmother. And I was there primarily to support you and to help out. And I ended up having a delightful time, lots of fun, messing around with various of the stations. Some of the stations I am more drawn to than others. We played some ping pong, and I was thoroughly flounced by Candy Sheehan, our co-host, and had some fun watching Jane Sachs try to learn how to operate a remote-controlled robot. And by golly, it's never too late for adult learning. And before long, she learned how to attack the rest of us with this remote robot, nipping at our heels. So it was a great time, and I would strongly encourage anybody to come out that needs to let off a little steam and have a little bit of fun at the Action Boutique.
You know what I found out? Thank you, Scott. I found out that when we came there, and especially after getting my booster yesterday and a day before, and I felt so just yucky, and my bones hurt, and just felt like I needed to slow down. And guess what? I came to Action Boutique today, and the fun and all these different games and attractions and challenges, and even playing tennis that I do not have any idea how to play. But I think it elevated my mood. And so, yes, we advertise it as a place for children from 4 or 5 years old up to 12, 13. Also, we advertise it as the birthday party center. So you can book with us your birthday party. And this is like a regular setting where you book it with different venues. But so in our case, we have so many activities for children that you will not be, first of all, bored, but also I hope that parents will be engaged with children, because in our time when we have shooting, school
Yes.
shooting, when we have so much attention in our communities and in our nation and around the world, I think parents need to understand that it still starts with the family. So we often put education and parenting on our teachers. It's not fair. It should start at home.
Yeah.
So it should start with time spent together. And that's why in our center, in this Action Boutique Center, you will come and you will have a wonderful time for yourself. You will meet new people, but also you will see and hopefully play with your children, showing them how to do puzzles, how to do origami, how to make robots, and also how to learn about earthquakes. So I was able today to learn how the earthquake distracts and destroys buildings. So lots of things that you can learn in our Action Boutique Center. So I invite you now again to see this short video of Phyllis Myers, because she came today and she was so excited. Let's see this video today again.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Myers, and I just dropped by the Action Boutique here at Francis Street First Methodist Church at 12th and Francis, and it's just great. Bring your kids down here. They'll have a wonderful time, and I just at least come and see it, and they will love it, and so will you.
And also, let's review again the space. Oh, here's Candy.
Granddaughter's married. Didn't I?
Oh, congratulations.
So here we are, Candy. So good to have you. And congratulations to your granddaughter with getting married. So did it go well?
It went very well. And I'm sorry I broke in on a live broadcast. I apologize for doing that. I had no idea that you were on live already. So you started right on time. Good for you.
Not on time. We started a little late today, but since we have a few people who watch us, we just wanted to show that we have something here in St. Joseph that can help people with difficult situations. And surprisingly, we discovered today, Scott and I, that when we feel tired or feel a little under the weather, this Action Boutique Center that you created and that you were so instrumental. You are the mover and the shaker, like people say. But so we want to learn more about it. So we will show again Phyllis Myers and how excited she was today. But what it is about, is it possible that when people try to cope, they can cope together with their children? What is this about?
Well, I do think it's really an important ministry that we started. And it's so funny for you to say that I'm a mover and a shaker, because actually you were pushing and prodding me from behind, Lydia. You were getting me to do this. And, you know, the thing that I like to think about, honestly, we're planting seeds at Francis Street First, because we really don't know where we're going. And I want to give you an example of that. Well, maybe two examples. Okay. We started, that exercise class, and I went to it faithfully for quite a long while. But honestly, I became so busy that I couldn't go all the time. But Susan Wright was so faithful to that ministry. And I think she probably averages about 12 people there, sometimes more, maybe a few less. And about half of that group is not even from our own congregation. It's a wonderful ministry. We had no idea where that ministry was going to go or where it might end. but it has been such a wonderful service to our community. Then we started the little library. And I sometimes wondered, why are we putting these books out there? Does it matter to anyone? And I could tell a few books were being taken at times. And then around Christmas, a whole lot of books were taken out of there. But in the last 2 weeks, I have had 2 different people stop and say, thank you so much for putting out those books. And it's planting the seeds. I had no idea whether it was really going to take or whether it was valuable, but just to have 2 people come by and just knock on the door and just say, I just want to tell you thanks. I thought, what a blessing. And that's a simple thing we can do to be of service to others. And so when we're doing this Action Boutique, again, to me, I feel like we're planting seeds. What we absolutely hope will happen is that we can minister to families and children in the area around our church. And if you know that we're in downtown St. Joe, you realize that we're in a challenging area. It's very difficult to get people to come through the door, but this is a service we can provide for children and parents, and we hope they'll take advantage of it. But we're not limiting ourselves to just that area. We hope the YWCA will come down and partner with us. They have the Grit Center for the older children from 12 to 18, and we wanted to have something available for those younger kids. And that's kind of what helped us get this idea of the Action Boutique for younger children started. We also would like to have a place for someone to bring big brothers and sisters. If they had a chance and they need a place to take kids, just a free, safe, fun place to take younger children. We're thinking maybe wouldn't this be a fun place for birthday parties? And so the ideas are still rolling. We don't know exactly where it will end. Again, I say we're planting seeds. And a quote that I like a lot is, faith is taking that first step even when you can't see the whole staircase. And, we can't see where this is going to lead for sure, but we hope we have a solid project that will be accepted by our community and then used fully. And that is our hope. We want kids to be entertained. We want them to learn things. We want them to be safe. And this just checks so many boxes. The Action Boutique is just exactly something that we feel is needed in St. Joseph.
Candy, I have a question. When we showed Phyllis Myers speaking with such excitement about this new Discovery Center Action Boutique, what my comment was, and I want to ask you, am I correct? I just thought that with all this tension in the world and with the school shooting that can't be resolved for so many decades, I think that still everything starts with parenting. And when people cope with tragedies and simply life difficulties, is it true that in our center, children can play with their parents and that will bring them closer and maybe build additional links between them, and maybe even the tension in the family will reduce? What do you think?
And I love that idea. And of course, that's exactly what we really hope will happen, is that parents will bring their children and go through the various stations with them. They could start at the reading nook and read a story to their kids. They can go to the coding corner and work on a computer a little bit. They can go to the Build It station and build a little robot or try out the earthquake zone. And they could go to the Science Center and do a little experiment with them. They could go to the Create It corner and make some kind of a picture or maybe a paper sack puppet or just do something fun. We have refreshments. We have ping pong. We have hula hoops. We have jump ropes. Just do things that are just very safe. And we need someone who can hop. I tried my hardest to hop today and I found out I'm not a hopper anymore. But we have hopscotch, and I need someone down there that can show the kids really how to do that. I can tell them hop on one foot and then hop on two, and it doesn't quite. Someone needs to show them how to do that, and it will need to be someone other than me. But I think it's just a lot of different activities, a way for kids to bond, and we're not just limiting it to if There's a child. If I saw a child walking by, I would invite them in. If you don't, not every parent, and I think in our area, we're going to encounter parents who really need this. They need to come and bring their kids, but they may not be willing to. I wouldn't exclude their children because sometimes children just need to bond with other adults. And I could be that adult for some child who really needs it. And so that's why we don't limit it. It doesn't have to be parents and children. That's what we would prefer and what we would love. But we would also welcome children in that need a safe place to go with a loving adult who will care for them and care about them. So if that answers
Thank
your
you.
question, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So Scott had a question.
I just wanted to make a comment about so Candy, when we started before you joined us, I made the observation that we've been talking about how to cope with life now for months and months and months and months, and I learned today with the time that we all spent together how important or how effective it is to use fun for
Yes.
coping.
Yes.
We just let off some steam and had some laughs and had some conversations and enjoyed each other, looking a little silly.
Yeah.
But the one observation, the next observation that I wanted to make was there's an interesting blend of old school and new technology down there.
Yeah.
And of course, the new technology is the games on the tablets and the opportunities to do computer programming
Right.
on a Windows computer. But then the old school, and it was such a pleasant surprise, was on that one crafts in that one craft center corner. We had that old spirograph,
Oh, yes.
and I don't know that any of our children know or grandchildren are familiar with spirograph, but was a delightful toy that I used back some 40 plus years ago.
Wow.
And it still makes these wonderful drawings that are really surprising in their beauty. So just a wonderful mix of old technology, new technology, and lots of fun.
Yeah. I think you're so right about that, Scott. In coping, really just letting off steam that way. Playing ping pong was fun. Little things that you do really has such an impact on the way you feel. And I think it's important. We don't take time to laugh. And Karen and I were talking today that kids don't get to use their imagination very often anymore. They don't get to just play and be kids. And I'm so sorry for that. But as I understand the teacher's plight, because as a teacher, you have so many stresses on your time. You have so many things that you've got to teach. I remember teaching 5th grade and thinking, oh my goodness, we didn't have time to do social studies again today. Trying to work everything in and feel like you're educating these kids, let alone have time just to build that relationship with kids. It's so hard to have time to fit it all in. And so I think that's really, we can do some things for the children that teachers don't seem to have the time to do right now. And I have a lot of teacher friends. It's very stressful. And so anything we can do to help develop the kids, and even that's interpersonal skills, their social skills. They don't have a chance to develop those like they once do. And, our kids are in trouble, and we've talked about that. They really are in trouble. They need appropriate things to do in a safe location. This has been a bad year. One report I read said kids were frozen socially and emotionally right when the pandemic started, and they haven't made up that ground yet. And so anything we can do to help these children and provide them with support is going to be really important, I think.
I think it's so valuable that you mentioned COVID time, because the depression and the mental issues that children and teenagers especially go through are tremendous, very high. And that Francis Street First Church came up with this idea to build a new center for children. I think it is just absolutely significant and timely. But also, Scott mentioned this new games and new technology. What amazes me, how good you are with all these innovations and technology that you brought to this Action Boutique. Could you share about what software, what games that you brought that I was not even familiar with?
Right. Well, I'd had a chance to do a little bit of research with games for younger children, and the Osmo system seemed like a good one to me. And I had chosen that. I talked to my sister and my niece because they have three little boys, and I'm going to guess their ages and hope I'm fairly close. I think they're about probably 3, 5, and 7. And they use the Osmo system, and coding was their favorite game to play. And I thought that is so perfect because we have a coding corner. And so the Osmo base comes with various programs. And so they love the costume one. They love the monster program. And so there were just a lot of little things they enjoyed doing with that system. And so we decided that would be a good system for us to invest in. And you can't say that I'm really good at it because I did get I got the wrong coding game for this set. And I just have to admit it was a mistake. And if you looked at the fine print, it said for an iPad. And we, of course, have Kindle Fires. And so I'm going to have to make an exchange already. But we have some of the programs up and running that we can use on it. So the thing that I like about the Action Boutique is that just, as a teacher, I was never done. I never finished because you can always improve something. You can always make it better. I feel that way about the Action Boutique. It's not finished. It's a work in progress. We will keep improving and making it better. So it's not a done deal, but it's something we're working on that we can be very proud of. There are things there to do that are really fun for kids. And we didn't even open all the boxes of the new things that we have because there was no need to. We have enough stuff that you can be entertained pretty easily for quite a while. And so that's the thing. I would remind everyone, we are a work in progress, and I don't think we'll ever be finished. We'll just always be upgrading and improving and trying to make things better.
Candy, my question is that when we talk about coping skills, and many times when we have our guests and they are either certified counselors or psychiatrists or psychologists, and what I hear from them every time that to maintain our youthfulness, two things are important, and more of course than two, but one of them is to be curious and always to be open to learn something new. So because we can be curious, but we can shut ourselves down and do not even take time to learn something. What you are saying right now, I think for our audience is a perfect example and illustration. When you are afraid of aging, I try to follow your example because I know that if I just sit down and life is so sad and nothing is ahead of me, then my mind will start shutting down. But what I see in you, you are so alive and so youthful, and you will probably run faster than many children. And when you talk about the hopscotch, then I could see that, oh no, you can do that. And so I invite all people who follow us and who watch us to follow this example. And if you feel low and you feel depressed, even if you don't have children, trust me, if you come to our center like Scott and I did today, we were energized. I learned a little how to play tennis. I never tried. I was always intimidated. I always wanted to have the short white skirt and it's nice, but I never tried because I thought I'm not good. And so now I'm 65, and will I ever try? I tried today, and it gave me energy. So then another thing, of course, is that when you meet people in our center who are like you, Candy, who are so excited. So then it opens my mind. It opened my mind today, like, oh, I have no idea that about this software, about these games. And you see, this is how we stop aging. Am I right?
Yeah. Mhm. Right.
We do.
I think, yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. Keeping an open mind is always helpful, and you should never say you can't do something. So after our podcast is over, I'm going to try hopscotch. I'm going to see if I can hop on one foot. Earlier, I was afraid to try, but I'm going to give it my best shot, and we'll just see how it goes. But I do think that's important not to limit yourself. And so often it is easy to put limits on yourself that really aren't even necessary. That you can do much more than you think you can, and I think that's important to remember that. You know, the other thing
Wonderful.
I like that I've really been thinking about this, because some of us, if you get involved in things and you get busy and you just feel like, man, I'm working way too hard, and you've got to. One of the things I got from my Quaker book, I've been reading a Quaker book of wisdom, and I have learned many valuable things from that. It's been very helpful to me. But one of the things the author says is that work is love made visible. And I absolutely love that idea. Work is love made visible. And so when I'm working, I try to remind myself, I'm just showing how much I love you all. Funny idea, but it kind of helps me sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit low or when I'm feeling depleted. That is something that kind of picks me back up and gets me going again.
So that's a perfect example and an invitation to people. I remember how it started and how so many people painted downstairs such a old fashioned look that place had, and now it's bright colors. Now it's all these stations, and I will show again the stations on the screen in a minute. But the point is that when we did it together, painting even, that brings people together. So the main thing, when you cope with your difficulties, don't think that you're the only one. Don't think that you are the only one who is depressed or mistreated or lost a job or experienced a bankruptcy. Whatever you're going through, first of all, come to our Action Boutique Center, because and the question to Scott is at this point, and Candy, do you think just women can come there, or men can find something to do as well when they come with their children?
Absolutely. It is family oriented, and we want men there. And in fact, sometimes it is hard for us to get men plugged in a church building. Now, I know there are exceptions to that, but often, church is becoming known as women's work, and I don't know where that started or how it started, but it absolutely is not. So I saw when I was watching Mike Buckler put the marble maze. It wasn't a maze. What do you call that? Well, it was a marble drop thing, and really that took a long time. That took a lot of energy. We left it put together because we want kids to see what it is. But if I got some older kids in there, the younger kids would not really be able to do that. That's someone probably, if you were 10 to 12, you could probably figure it out. So we have some things, the little gear creature that Jane Sachs put together today, the little boys could run that little robot, but see, they couldn't put that together. So we have some things that are really for the younger kids, but we have things for the older kids. And if we had older kids in there, I would take the robot apart and let them build it. I would take the marble maze apart and let them work on that wherever they had an interest. But for the younger kids, we just need for them to see what it is, and they can watch the marble drop down. And we had a marble race today that I lost. I had no idea which side would go faster, but it's just something that they could watch that, and they voted on what one they thought would be faster, and then we watched the marble go down and could see that. And then we'll have a little different science experiments. Today was a popular one. Slime is always popular with kids. They like to do that. And so we will have various ones for them to use, though, and just things for fun. that will be little
That's wonderful.
simple science experiments that that they can do and enjoy. So yeah, men, women, children, I would think it would be a blessing for everyone. And really, it's very good for grandparents. Sometimes grandparents need something to do with their kids that doesn't require a lot of running and jumping and, unsupervised play, because you can sit and do a picture with someone or do a little hand puppet and just use your creativity and create something that doesn't use up all your energy. And so I think that's important for grandparents to know. This would be a place you could bring your kids and you would enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Wonderful. So, Scotty, do you have a question or a comment?
I would just add my thoughts to Candy to answer your question. I think kids need good, strong male role models.
Absolutely.
There's too many families where there's an absent father, whether the father, there's not a man in the house at all, or the man is present but distant. It's good for kids to see good men who are compassionate and have inner strength that can spend time with kids and help them understand that they're worthwhile and have value.
I think thank you. I think I'll look at our logo from misery to mystery, and I think this illustration of our action boutique, we're not exactly at the point of misery with our downstairs of the church, but it was sad, and I think I think I compare it with some people's lives, and including us sometimes. So we are so down sometimes, don't see any solutions, and it's a misery. It's kind of a dread. But then this action boutique, I think, can turn it into mystery. And because it's time with children, I like that you brought up grandchildren, because some grandchildren do not have enough time to spend. They do have time, but sometimes family, maybe relationship or some tension do not allow them to see grandchildren too much. But if you start working with your children and say, listen, we have this action boutique center in St. Joseph. Would you let me take the children there? Then it's a perfect time. You're together, but you also help your children, grown-ups, to maybe take time for themselves and while you're taking care of the children. So I have a question, Candy, to you. I bring up to the screen the designer of this project. So can you talk about Fred Olson? Who is he and what he did? And this is exactly illustrating your story about stations and what people can find and learn with their children.
Well, obviously, from the things that Fred did, he is a very talented young man. And he can take an idea and just go with it. We told him what we wanted, and we had a vision and could kind of show him some examples, but really we didn't have to work very hard to do that. We told him we wanted the little stations to be named. He came up with his own plans for doing that. He even has additional things he'd like to bring in. He'd like to see us, in the Build It station. He'd like to, work with the kids to build birdhouses or simple little items. And so he has a vision that he can carry out very easily. And I so appreciate him for that, because honestly, I don't think we did not have the knowledge of how to do these stations. He could see it in his mind, and he had a simple plan. If you look at the stations, they're made with a desk that's all pretty similar. They have places that you can store things in, little cubby holes that have little containers in them. The backboards are all the same, but then every backboard says something different. And it's very, very, it's just well designed. It's very sturdy. It's going to serve its purpose very well. It's on rollers, so if we ever wanted to use that room for something else, we could roll them right out of there and roll them in the other room. So it was a very just brilliant solution to a problem we presented to him, and he just came through and really has bought into it. He really cares about what happens. He says, I want to design something nice. And so I found some old wood. I thought, well, maybe you could use that. Or I found something that we had stored. because I'm a great recycler and I love that idea. And he was kind of, no, let's make this something really new and nice for the kids. And I'm glad he stuck with it. I'm fine with that. I just think it's important that it go well. And you're looking at some of the designs. You see the pattern one there and the Science Center. Those actually aren't finished yet. The Build It one isn't even finished. We only have 2 that are 100% done. That's the coding corner is finished, and the Create It Center is finished. The others have additional little pieces that go on them. In fact, it was the Science Center was held up with tape, and it wasn't sticking today. So we were losing some of the pieces of that today. But he will get those completed, and they are just awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better design or better plans for what we hope to accomplish. So very talented man, and he kind of works in advertising. He's done a lot of work with the Missouri theater and building sets and helping them with design. And yeah, I can't say enough good things. This I love. Look at our bookcase. That's one of my favorites because that cabinet actually folds, and it is a book. And I can't remember what Karen titled that book. I don't remember that, but it really is. It's a book cabinet that folds into being a book. So it's very special.
So folds like a book, right? And then you open it. That's
yeah, and
amazing.
then you open it, and then when you fold it, you can roll it away if you want to. And if you look on if you haven't done it yet, when you go down there next time, it's got a title on the book. And I have to be honest, I didn't read the title. So I don't know what it says, but it is a book cover on the back side.
Yeah.
If you turn it around.
Okay. But it's amazing that children now, if we think about the idea behind this, that many children cannot read. And our church mentors at Cardian Park Elementary. And we do it now for 3 years. So here, during summertime especially, it's such an indirect way. So it's not like a summer school that children sometimes drag. But here they come, and then we will have every hour, we will have 15 minutes when children will sit with the teacher, with the volunteer, and listen to the story. And also, I think that will develop the love for reading. Because you're a book reader lover, and so I know that, and you're a member of a book club, and I know Scott reads a lot, and so. But you see, many children just for whatever reason cannot read. Many adults cannot read, and that's what I thought that our center Coping Life Talk today. We advertise our Action Boutique Discovery Center, where it is a place to distress, to cope with life in a different way, to have fun, to meet new people, to have time spent with your children and grandchildren, but also learn new things. But reading is one of them. So that's what I want to, at the end, to show the interview with Phyllis Myers, but anything you want to say before we finish? And I will probably roll again the invitation to our Discovery Center. So welcome to our Discovery Center Action Boutique, and Candy Sheehan is instrumental in building it, and everything beginning from scratch, from painting walls, from cleaning the downstairs of the big historic building in St. Joseph. And you know what children say? They say, wow, it looks like a castle. And also they say, are we going to the castle today? So bring your children to our castle. Bring children to have fun, to meet other children, to learn how to code. So we have a coding corner. We have a build corner. We have patterns, which is origami. We have people who are trained to work with you. It's a safe place. Children can have snacks, but majorly, that's a good place for you to spend time with your children and learn new things. So welcome to our Discovery Center, and thank you, Candy, so much.
Sure.
Thank you for your time, for your just passion to share with other people how wonderful it is to do things together, but also to work with children.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Myers, and I just dropped by the Action Boutique here at Francis Street First Methodist Church at 12th and Francis, and it's just great. Bring your kids down here; they'll have a wonderful time, and I just at least come and see it, and they will love it, and so will you.
Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Scott. And with this thought, we sent invitations, and we hope to see you next Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m.
Right.
God bless you all, and learn to cope with your life now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.